A wise friend of mine once said, everything is easy, and at the same time, nothing is easy. And I think that applies well to second citizenship. There are easy ways to get second citizenship, quote unquote, such as citizenship by investment. You fill out a big stack of paperwork, not exactly easy, but it can be delegated to somebody like Nomad Capitalist, and you make a donation. Pretty easy to send the money, not necessarily easy to watch the money going away. But today I'm going to share with you why I think some Westerners should change their mindset on second citizenship, because it's probably not quite as easy as you think, and I want you to apply the right mindset going in if you want to be successful. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, and here at Nomad Capitalist we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where they're treated best. That includes second citizenships, offshore tax strategies. Learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. One of the things that I see people, particularly from the West, I don't mean to pick on my fellow Westerners, but they look at all the other countries out there that offer citizenship, and they do a couple things sometimes. Number one, they act like getting second citizenship in any country is easy. You see this whenever there's a presidential election in the U.S. I'm going to move to Canada and become Canadian. You can't just move to Canada and become Canadian. There's ways to do it. They don't just let anyone come in. And the second way is they imagine that any country that is less than their country is somehow waiting around begging them to come so they can just meet them at the airport almost with a second passport and just here's your passport, we've been waiting for you because you're American and we really want all the Americans to come. And I don't want to sound dismissive, but I do want you to go into your second citizenship quest kind of understanding how it works. And you can think of it like so many other things in life. When you pay more, your life is made easier. Right? If you're a high-powered executive and you hire a personal assistant, you don't have to call a restaurant and make reservations, or you don't have to arrange for your dry cleaning to be picked up. When you go to a nightclub, you can cut to the front of the line when you have VIP bottle service and a host. Right? And so when you pay more, you get more. And so citizenship by investment programs, for example, you go to the Caribbean or Malta or Cyprus or one of these programs, you make a donation or you buy some kind of approved real estate, and you're going to get citizenship pretty quickly. And they're not going to bother you a lot. They certainly are going to check your background. They certainly are going to make you fill out some forms, but they're not going to make you visit the country. They're not going to make you go and learn all about their history or learn the national anthem. You're basically paying to get out of that. Okay? And I'm not saying that it's not on the up and up, because it is. There is a lot of scrutiny given to those citizens, but what you're bypassing is what you'd have to do to become naturalized in any non-citizenship by investment country, where you do need to learn the language, you do need to learn the national anthem, you do need to learn the history and the customs, and you need to spend 6 months a year living there. You're basically paying to get out of that. Now, the next level from that is, let's say, a golden visa, a residence by investment program. We'll take Portugal, for example. You're not going to make a donation, although there are some fees. You're going to make a qualifying investment. And if you work with someone professional who makes sure that you aren't paying high commissions on real estate, then you can make a relatively decent investment in real estate or a fund or even put money in the bank, and you can get yourself on a slower path to a second passport, because a more big country like Portugal, they don't want to just offer citizenship in a matter of months. They can't really do that being in the European Union. It's not as easy for them. So they say, okay, make the investment. It's your money to invest. You can still use the real estate. You can cash out your investment once you're a citizen, but you've got to wait. And so if waiting is okay and you prefer not to have a sunk cost of a donation, then you might look at this kind of program. And in exchange, they'll only make you spend a couple weeks a year there. So unlike most European Union countries where you've got to go and live there 6 months and again learn a lot about the language and the culture, you're going to bypass some of those requirements. In Portugal, you're not sinking as much money into the program. There may be an opportunity cost of investing hundreds of thousands of euros versus just $100,000, but you're going to have none of the lifestyle changes, but you're still going to have to make that investment. Now, if you look at some of the more affordable methods, let's say you want to get a residence permit in a country. There are countries that offer paper residence. Right? You go, you make a qualifying investment, could be putting some money in the bank, could be investing in bonds, could be buying a little apartment, could simply be proving you have an income somewhere else. And you can get a paper residence, and maybe you need to spend 1 day per year there, or a week per year there, or maybe you don't need to spend any time there now, but in the year before you naturalize, you need to spend 6 months, and it's a call option. You know, when it comes to naturalization options, where you're just going in as a normal person, not in a more expensive golden visa program or citizenship by investment program, when you're going in that way, you're going to have to spend some time in the country. And so the challenge I've seen is I'll have families in particular come, and they'll say, hey, we've got 3 kids or 4 kids, and you know, we don't really want to go the citizenship by investment route. That's a little expensive for us. So let's just get one of these residence permits. Maybe we'll buy a piece of property, you know, and let's just get citizenship that way. But where they get frustrated is you have to go to that country. You have to go to the country once you make the investment, and you have to open a bank account, for example. You have to, in some cases, rent an apartment. You have to, you know, in some cases, again, put together the trappings of a life. You may not need to live there, but you may need to have, again, that bank account or some kind of connection to the country. You may have to go every year to renew your residence permit, or, you know, the first year, and then the 3rd year, and then the 5th year. You know, you're going to have to go there. And so for a single person, that may be relatively affordable. It may be kind of fun. But if you've got a family, it may be a real slog that every 6 months or 12 months you've got to go and check into your country, and that adds to the cost. And I think people sometimes imagine that, oh, you know, I'm buying a $100,000 apartment in their country. Why should I have to go there? You know, no country is going to naturalize you through normal means without you going there. It would just simply kill their international reputation. Some countries have made it easy. Again, Portugal, go and spend a couple weeks a year after making an investment, and then in 5 years, we'll consider naturalizing you just like anyone else. We've just made it a lot easier than we did if you were an employee, for example, moving here, right? So they've made it easier, but they're not making it as if you never have to show up. I mean, nobody would really want to trust that passport so much. And so, you know, the Caribbean countries can do that. They can allow you to not show up because they've got enough visa-free travel with countries they have a good relationship with, including the UK and Ireland and Europe. But they're never going to have visa-free access to the US. They're never going to have access to Canada. In fact, a couple of them have lost access to Canada because they have these programs. And so, you know, you have to always prioritize what is most important to you. If you want to minimize sunk cost, then you're probably going to be waiting longer, right? If you want to minimize time in a country, you're going to be paying more, right? And so there's always a trade-off of time versus money, as with anything in life. You know, on the other hand, you've got fast-track naturalization programs. Maybe a country naturalizes 10 people a year for making really big investments. You know, that investment could be a pretty substantial investment. It could give you a good ROI, but the legal fees are going to be pretty high, right? And so you still probably need to go to that country once or twice. So, you know, this is what you have to understand. Nobody is begging you to be a citizen of their country. And I know, okay, of course, Andrew, we all know that, but I don't think we all do. I think that we think that, hey, I bought an apartment, why don't they just mail me my passport? I mean, what is it really in their interest that you buy $100,000 in real estate and instantly you're a citizen? Do you know how many citizens they would have if they did that, right? So, again, if you're looking to minimize sunk costs, you're going to have to spend some time in a country. The more you invest, the less time, the better the conditions are going to be. The smaller the country, right? A non-EU country is probably going to be easier in some circumstances than an EU country is. They're going to be a bit more flexible, right? Because again, they don't have as much of that reputation. They're not as developed. The laws perhaps aren't as developed. But unless you're going to have a sunk cost, you're going to want to spend some time in your country. And again, I can't emphasize enough how I want you to know that, because people have pushed back on, I got to go to this country for 2 weeks to set up my residence. Yeah, 2 weeks to get a second passport for a couple $1,000s in fees. I mean, this is not a big commitment to make. And if you understand in the context of some people are paying, you know, $50,000 in legal fees to get their citizenship. Some people are paying $500,000 in fees to get a really top tier, you know, exclusive citizenship. You know, the fees, if the fees are very, very, very low, it's going to come with other requirements that those higher priced options don't. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.